If you're irritated at how hard it is, then you got resistance that won't let it in easily. And so it's by acknowledging that it's coming. It's by looking for the positive aspects of it showing up however it shows up. And by not so much comparing what's coming to you with what's come to someone else. In other words, that uneasiness slows abundance down. And so the thing that keeps most people, you have to accept that what you're letting in is not depriving anyone else of something. There's that sort of unworthiness thing that so many have going on that says, I must not be worthy of more because more isn't coming. And then as you try to figure out what isn't working and why it isn't working, you just hold yourself in a place of not letting it come in. And that's why you are brilliantly asking for ease. You see, if you want abundance and you believe it takes hard work, then doing the hard work that you believe is necessary before you can let it in. You put that in the vortex. Even when you were doing all that hard work, you were always asking for it to be easier, but you were using the hard work as your excuse to let it in. And so if you want abundance with ease, then you got to find a different way of approaching it with your thoughts. Make sense? You want to focus and let it put itself together. So your approach to financial abundance, for most people, it's exchange my wisdom or my effort, my activity or my product, exchange something that I'm about for money. That's the way most people look at economics. Win-win. I give you this, you give me that. So, and different people have different things that they are giving. If you have expectation that there is value in what you are offering, and you know that there are people who are looking for the value that you are offering, then there's no resistance in your vibration, no contradiction. And so sometimes what you're giving requires a lot of focus and attention from you, and what you're getting seems like it matches, but as you move through time, some of your intentions change. Maybe you want to put some time in some other things, and maybe you don't want to put as much time into what you were doing. And so sometimes you get a little out of balance within yourself because you've believed in your win-win. You've believed in, I give you this and you give me that. And now it's getting a little out of balance because you don't feel quite so willing to keep doing that, but you don't really believe yet that you can give less and still get same, or give less and get more. So this is why we like to have conversations with you, that the abundance that you are attracting and allowing into your experience isn't about your earning or your activity. It's about your wanting and not getting in the way of it. That's why the subject of worthiness is often part of the conversation, but that's such a loaded word. It's hard for anybody to really hear what we're getting at. So let's apply the formula that we've been talking about to this situation. So I would like, we're standing in your shoes, I would like abundance to flow, a lot of it, with ease. That's what I want. And as you make that statement, your inner being is not in disagreement with that. And so at that point, there's no contradiction. And then you say, from your human perspective, perhaps, I want a lot to come from me, but I know I'm going to have to work hard to get it, or at least do something equivalent to get it. And you begin to feel uneasy because your inner being isn't going along with that. Because your inner being knows that you don't have to earn to prove worthiness. Your inner being already knows that you are worthy. So then it starts to get a little off. You maybe don't trust quite so much. So then what happens to a lot of humans is that they then become skeptical. In other words, something that they sort of always kind of thought, that there isn't something for nothing like that money really can't come to you with that kind of ease. And that, you feel discord in that thought because that thought's not true either. We want you to be a pointer at what you want. And we really want you to understand that the abundance that you seek can come to you that easily. But it has to be something that matches up in you. You can't attract outside of your beliefs. You cannot let in something that you are not believing. And so we could be having the same conversation about relationships or anything else. So now let's step back. What you want is putting itself together. In fact, it has already put itself together. And your desire and your willingness to explore a different approach in all of this means that you're getting closer and closer and closer to allowing it to come. Esther is using phrases with herself, such as, I like the idea of being more of a pointer than an absolute facilitator. In other words, she likes to point at the cleaning of the pond, and she likes to attract those that's a vibrational match to what they want to do. Esther really doesn't want to clean out her own pond, but she believes that there are those that are a vibrational match to it. And so that's what we want you to begin contemplating. Be a pointer. So we're going to ask you some questions. Does this explanation of this vibrational reality ring true to you? Does it make sense? Does it also make sense to you that non-physical part of you is aware of your request and is keeping a focused eye, so to speak, on what you've asked for? So do you believe in the vibrational reality of your request? So if we can get across this sort of little barrier that so many humans feel, how does the new resource get into the physical experience? Humans think mostly it's about action, or it's about digging something else up. But if we can get across to you in a way that you can really feel it, that vibrational reality becomes reality, and it will come in a logical way. In other words, after the fact, you'll see the logic of it. But if you try too hard to figure out how it's going to come, when it's going to come, where it's going to come from, who's going to bring it, when it's going to get there, then your inability to answer those questions puts enough resistance in it that you bog it down. If you can just think about what you want and why you want it, and then step back into that general place of trusting the existence of the vibrational reality. So, do you think that having had the experience that you've had, knowing what you want and having had the experience that you've had, that you'll be more sensitive to when it gets off kilter earlier in the unfolding? So if you really believe that there's a vibrational reality, and you really believe that things are working out for you, and you really believe that your inner being's got their eye on what's going on, and you care about how you feel, so you understand that your desire is being tended to, and then you do the only thing that is important for you to do. You hold yourself in a place of feeling as good as you can feel, as expected as you feel. It is our promise to you that an avenue will open that meets everything. In other words, you've already, through everything that you've lived, you've said, I don't want that, I do want that, I don't want that, I do want that. And we want you to trust that your inner being knows what you're asking for, and that the vibrational equivalent of it, the seed of it, does exist in the vortex, which means it has to come to you. For it to not come in all of the ways, in all of the ease and flow that you're asking for, is completely illogical given the way the universe works. So what we're really asking you to do is, little by little, no longer focus yourself into that human mind, which is what's in the way of what you want. Humans would call what we were describing just now as illogical. We're not for a moment suggesting that you won't be inspired to some action, but we will promise you that it will be not be action that's distasteful to you, and not be action that's overwhelming to you. It'll be action that is in vibrational alignment with all of the things that you've been asking for. You cannot not get what you want, especially when you've been defining it as clearly and for as long as you've been defining it. It has to come. It's vibrationally illogical for it not to. And so what you're going to discover as you keep playing with this, you're going to discover your own stumbling blocks, because every time you feel them, it's going to feel like negative emotion. Jerry used to watch these gatherings, and someone would be in the hot seat and have a very earnest conversation like this one that we're having together. And then he would see, as soon as you leave the stage, a whole lot of people who have a whole lot of reason to get with you, to flock to you, to teach you what they know, or to offer you their version of multi-level marketing something. And Jerry used to say, I wish that they would just let that person sit for a while in the energy that happened. And that's what we're really asking you to do. You cannot hold a desire clear and pure and not get exactly what you want. But what holds it up, what prevents people from getting what they want, is exploring things that have happened before and then overlaying them over this desire. And all of that is in an attitude of, I didn't get it right, there's something I don't understand, or something that I don't deserve, and none of that is true. And that's why anytime you have any thoughts like that, in other words, some people would think the thought that it's easy to be a sucker. It's easy to want to believe something so much that you let yourself be taken advantage. The universe is not conspiring against you. The universe is conspiring for you. And cooperative components are gathered. You just have to be able to sniff out what the cooperative components to your desire are, you see. Creation is so fun. Your point of attraction is one of evidence of things working out for you. And so as you just keep holding that absolute knowing, everything that you want will dovetail with that. Nothing else is logical. Nothing else is logical. And meanwhile, have fun in the working it out, feeling it out. So much of what we've been talking about is that new piece that you're looking for. Catching yourself, breaking the habit that seems normal by utilizing your guidance that shows you where the bugaboo is. And then once you discover it, you do less and less and less of it. You launch the rocket, and that's where your inner being's been, watching that movie, reveling in all that you're becoming. When you don't move in the direction of it, your inner being doesn't suffer, only you do. Your inner being holds to what you've asked for. That's the thing that we most want you to hear. That's why when you don't go there, you don't feel so good. You come, you evolve, you don't go, it doesn't feel good. So you launch another rocket and evolve a little more and then don't go and you don't feel good. But your inner being doesn't join you in that. Your inner being stays there knowing what you want, knowing that it is there for you, standing there in the full experiential awareness of witnessing the cooperative components being gathered to the vortex, in eager anticipation of you no longer defending what isn't working. And when you stop defending what isn't working, it will work.